Hello.
Hey, Dr. Weiss, how are you?
How are you? It's after the treatment, but it depends on the severity of the condition. Patients, there are multiple treatments for this, and it's up to you to make the decision as to which one you and I'm sure you're aware that you had to get the blood tests.
Something else.
I watched an interesting half of a movie last night, because I feel like you do. There's really nothing to watch on TV.
It's also a nail polish sometimes.
Oh, right, little residue.
Yeah.
Or even if the nail polish remover is probably pretty flammable.
A different wavelength was maybe it was a CO2, which is more ablative.
You just need a couple of seconds of that.
Genesis Plus has tremendous versatility. It treats nail fungus as well as treating plantar warts as well as scar revision or scar remodeling. Toenail fungus, also known as onychomycosis, can cause yellowing of the nail as well as thickening of the nail. That can lead to pain for some patients, especially in tight shoe gear. The advantage of the Genesis Plus is it's not a systemic medication. There are no pills, no topicals. It is delivered, the energy is delivered straight to the nails, straight to the problem, and helps to heat up the nail so that we can promote healthy nail growth. The procedure is relatively pain-free. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes for the procedure, and it could be fit into a busy schedule. After the treatment, what the patient can look for is clearing of the nail, starting from the skin, growing out to the end of the nail. It takes about 3 to 6 months for a normal nail cycle, and especially with patients with fungal nails can take longer, but that would be what patients can expect. Athletes are affected by this condition because fungus lives in a warm environment, and athletic shoes and gyms, these are all breeding grounds for fungus. So they're more susceptible to this. They're also susceptible because the nail trauma that can occur with their shoe gear can lead to lifting of the nail plate, and fungus can invade the nail plate unguarded.
I've tried various creams, and then as an adult I tried oral medication, and I didn't like the side effects because it had something to do with your liver, and I had to go for monthly blood work. My toenails were quite unsightly. My wife called them inhuman. They were really in bad shape. They were elevated, the toenails were elevated with the fungus growing underneath it. It didn't really prohibit me from doing anything, but I was self-conscious about them. I would not wear open-toe shoes, and just because I didn't want anybody to see them. Well, after my last treatment, I noticed that my nails started to get their pink tones back into the nail bed, as well as the thickness of the nail started to dissipate and get back to their normal thickness.
I first noticed I had toenail fungus about 10 years ago, and it was very embarrassing to me. I was self-conscious about it. I didn't wear certain shoes. I always had to have a perfect pedicure. I would never just go out with a pair of flip-flops on unless my toes were completely covered with nail polish, and it made me self-conscious all summer long. About 10 years ago, I did 3 rounds of the oral treatment, and I was nervous about that because you did have to have a blood test and worry about an adverse effect on your liver, but I was desperate to try to correct the problem, so I went through it 3 times. It was quite expensive, and I had no success with it. With this particular treatment, I made the appointment, I came in, 15 minutes later I was finished, and I can go back to my regular activity. I don't have to have any special shoes on or do anything different. I just go back to putting my shoes on. It's easier than a pedicure. Anybody who asks me about this problem, trust me, not too many people talk about it, but if they do ask me, I'll recommend Genesis Plus Laser. It's been very simple.